The Mormons were peaceful people, living peaceful lives in their homes on the East Coast. Despite their seemingly harmless ways of life, many Mormon people were persecuted for their beliefs in polygamy, the marriage of more than one person at a time.
We are now in camp in the Mormon city, 1,400 miles from the States. The Mormons have had a pretty hard time since they came here, but at this time they have got things pretty comfortable. They are just cutting their wheat. They also have corn and potatoes and cattle aplenty. I find the Mormons very accommodating and willing to extend us immigrants all the hospitality they can.
I think the reason for traveling west is justifiable because there were many other religions in this region that were so strongly against polygamy that they murdered many of the Mormons and they burned down the Mormon church, and that prevented the Mormons from practicing their religion.
Shall we, the wives and daughters, submit to the dictation of unholy and wicked men? No, never. I feel that it is high time for the women of Utah to stand up and defend for this heaven-revealed principle. I'm a polygamous wife and proud to say it. Speaker at a convention of Mormon women in 1878.
The Mormon people traveled west in search of peace, a place where they could live and worship freely without being persecuted.
The most affecting scene was to see a mother carrying her child at the breast, for mile after mile until nearly exhausted. The heat was intense and the dust was suffocating. Many a father pulled his cart with little children in the morning, gave out during the day, and died before next morning. We soon thought it was unusual to leave campground without burying one or more persons, a handcart pioneer.
All groups who traveled west faced hardships and toils, and the Mormons definitely had their share. Even before the journey began, the Mormons stood by and watched their neighbors killed, their churches being burned, and saw their leader die. When their trip began, the hardships only continued. Many Mormon people could not afford oxen or horses to pull their carts, so they had to be pulled by hand. Children suffered a great deal from lack of food, choking on dust, and exhausting heat. The odds were by far stacked against the Mormons and all people traveling west for a new life. All groups left something behind for the West. Many settled new areas, made friends with natives, found helpful hints for life in the West, and many other things. The Mormons were the first group to settle the Great Basin, opening new land to many people seeking land in the West. They pioneered new farming methods for the dry desert of Utah and the Great Basin. But the most important accomplishment for them was deeply planting the Mormon faith in the Utah desert.